you ever wonder what's out there? Wonder the mysteries of the cosmos? Ever had an experience you just can't explain? The Doc Demand Show, Campfire Stories, where the unbelievable becomes believable.
Oh, hey, Doc.
Well, hey, Demand.
What you doing there?
Well, just sitting in our little rocking chair in our cabin, our shared captain's quarters.
The ship be a turning side to side, Doctor.
It do be a turning, dude. Well done on the background. How's the music, everybody? Can we get a volume check before we get started? Can we get how's everybody doing? Or how's everything going? Those of you who don't know, of course, welcome to the Dr. Man Show Campfire Stories. We'll get more of that intro in a minute while we just check our tech before we get started. And just gotta say, man, well done. Well done on the tech. All this you're looking at right now is Demand's doing.
Yeah.
He's doing it. Look at this, dude. It looks so good. This is so pleasant to look at, man. It's so pleasant.
The waves going back and forth and bobbing up and down, it makes you feel comfortable.
Man.
You know?
It makes me actually feel, like I'm feeling it, dude. I'm really enjoying this a lot, man. If I stare at the window long enough, I almost get a little ill.
A little bit.
Just a tiny bit. How's our volumes? How's our volumes? Check our volumes. Let's check the background music, etc., before we get started right fast. Let me unmute this. The sound effects sound good to me.
Good.
Camera's good?
Camera's looking good, yeah.
Camera's check. Sound effects check. Volume. Mike, how am I redlining? Am I doing good? I think so.
I think you're good. You're barely redlining, but that's where I want you to be.
Okay. All right. As long as I sound good and you sound good.
We sound excelente. How's like the? Can you hear like the low reverb sea shanty in the background? Just ever so slightly. When we stop talking, that's when you hear it.
Oh man, it's like an echo. It's like a siren.
Yeah. You like that? Yeah, dude. I just weaved that together, baby.
Dude, that sounds so good. This sounds so good. You can just run this.
We're just chilling right now. This is just forever.
This is it, man. Yeah. This is so good. Would you call this season 3 of Campfire Stories? Would this be like what? How many inclinations have there been?
I'd say this is season 4.
Okay.
Season 1 was in the mansion, right?
Right.
The very
right.
first mansion. We had 2 mansions, if you recall.
We did. True. We actually did. Yeah. Very, very, very true. What's up, silly? Avast your campfire on the ship, ye fools. We're for those of you who don't know, we're making this this will be our technical first episode. Technically. We did we went through the 50 States of Fear. We had the apocalyptic season, our shortest season, of course. What's up, Double O Blanco? It's been a minute. Good to see you. Good to see you. Long time to see. Hope you're doing well. So we're trying to make this legit interesting, I should say. And so we've evolved, right, Demand? We're going to put this show on on a podcast format, so you can download it, listen to it, no matter where you are on all podcasting platforms. We're gonna get that straightened out, and so we're gonna go. Our chat interaction will be minimalistic here, but after we're done with the core, the meat and potatoes of this particular show. Then we'll interact with chat, maybe do some little extra things, throw you all the delicious last martini, because the podcast format, as you well know, is just going to be letting people listen to what we're talking about. So all of Demand's hard work, the backgrounds, et cetera, is going to be on the podcast, and that's going to be all the flavoring, the seasoning you're going to get on the podcast format. Middle Giger says, "You know what's truly a scary story? Yeah, tell us, please. What is the scary story?"
My fridge
I don't
being
know,
empty of beer.
Or soju. No. Middle Gear's timed out for 60 seconds.
See you later, nerd.
Have y'all seen? Hey, have you? Have y'all seen the podcast? Not the podcast, sorry, but the preview for the Fallout television show.
Yes.
You seen it? You've seen it, Demand?
I've seen pictures of it.
Dude, we're gonna have to watch it.
All right.
So everybody stay tuned when the podcast is over. We're going to play a little bit of Dragon's Dogma, et cetera, et cetera. So without further ado, I think it's about time to hit it. Oh, yeah, Double Blanco has. It looks kind of good. I'm not going to lie. It looks kind of good.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure Satan looked good to sinners.
He did. He was the most beautiful angel. So you're absolutely right. He did look good. He did look real good.
Yeah. Just remember, not everything that glimmers is gold, all right?
Love Fallout, man. Can't wait for the show. I agree with Double O Blanco. It looks really good. We'll watch the preview.
I love Fallout.
Demand's a big Fallout fan. The reason he sounds so salty is because his last Fallout game was literally a steaming turd.
Yeah.
That you get banned if you mention the name. As Metal Gear just found out.
And Starfield comes out and they're like, "Here, have another turd. This time it's space turds."
Space turd. You had post-apocalyptic turd, now space turd.
I don't have space
just
balls.
Just wait for fantasy turd, because when I can guarantee you probably when the next Skyrim comes out, the next Elder Scrolls game, it's going to be a steaming pile of turd.
I'm ready for fantasy turd.
You've heard my Starfield's amazing with the mods. I'll be honest, Metal Gear, I haven't played it. I have no right to say it's bad. Like, I haven't tried it. I'm just
the story's bad.
The story is bad.
Demand's played it.
I
played all of it.
You went through the whole game and played it?
Yeah, I 100% it.
And it's no good. I didn't play it, so Demand can give a full review.
It's not the fact that it's terrible, even though I just said it was terrible. It's terrible to me. But if you look at Fallout 3, for example, that had a compelling storyline. The characters were interesting. Everything was like fairly fleshed out for a Bethesda game, right?
Right.
But then you look at Starfield, it's just so mid. You don't have any connection with the characters really at all. Like, and then like none of the characters, you have to play as a good guy because all the characters hate when you're evil. All of them hate. You don't have an evil companion. And the biggest thing is like the story sucks. It's so mid tier.
Yeah. Double O Blanco's asking if we can get a Dragon's Dogma. We actually are. We're gonna play. I don't know how late you're gonna be up, but
we streamed for 9 hours yesterday.
We streamed Dragon's Dogma for 9 hours. We're gonna do more after this. So if you're here for the gaming content, it will be 30 to 45 minutes probably from now when we're done with the Campfire Stories podcast. And Yeah, the story lacks, according to Metal Gear Greed. Yeah, so we're gonna be on it sooner rather than later. If you can't hang out, we'll be posting content on our YouTube channel fairly soon. In fact, I'll probably work on it after we're done streaming tonight. So get ready for that. So without further ado,
Hold on, scratch
ladies
balls.
and gentlemen,
Hold on. Hold on, Doc.
let me know when you're done. Yeah,
All
go
right.
ahead and take care of that. Are you good, bro?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
All right.
I have a lot of taint down there because I'm a big guy.
Yeah, you're a big dude. It's true. You have extra. You have
A
extra.
lot
stuff.
to itch.
Just terrible, man. Just terrible. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Campfire Stories, the first inaugural episode. Inaugural?
Inauguration?
Inaugural?
I don't know.
Yeah, of Campfire Stories, the paranormal podcast, where we discuss the weird, the wondrous, the strange, the unexplained. I am 50% of your hosts. My name's and who am I with today?
Hi, Doc. I'm Demand, the other 50%.
The other 50%. That's right. We've actually been streaming gaming content for a long time. We've been doing this podcast for actually years now. On Twitch, solely on the Twitch platform, we've decided to expand our horizons. Man, it's time. It's time we brought our unusual, ridiculous brand of humor to the paranormal space. Hopefully, we're well accepted and
We're gonna
not
break in.
ostracized. Yeah, dude, what do we got to do? What do we got to do to get in? What do we got to
I'll
do?
suck some toes.
That's gonna get you in some community. Maybe not the paranormal community,
No.
but yeah, that's gonna get you in somewhere. 100%. So, Demand, I've got a question, not only for you, but I guess everyone else out there listening right now. And it's just a simple question. It's a simple question, right? And that's how we kind of like to start things off generally on Campfire Stories. But how many people would you say, just out of a round guesstimation? Yeah, you
10.
could Google it. It's going to be a little more than that, but
Okay.
just as a round guesstimation, right? And like I said, you could Google it, but you're probably going to find that number is incorrect. How many people would you say go missing on cruise ships every single year? Just as a
Missing?
round guess.
Like no...
Go like they just disappear. Now
No
we're going to get
explanation.
into no explanation. Now we can get into the theories as to how and why they go missing, and obviously there's the obvious answers, but in general, like how many people would you say reportedly, right?
And this is like completely missing. Not...
I mean, dude, I would say some of them are found, I guess you'd say. That's kind of where we're going with this, right? Is that I feel like a lot of people don't realize this, but there are a lot of people that disappear off of these luxury cruise liners, possibly more than people might imagine. In fact, I know you've got your. If you've got your, I'll let you answer. Like,
All
what do
right.
you think?
All
Again,
right, so there's like hundreds of cruise ships in the world, right? Like there's. Does that include like cargo that you get order passengers on and all that? Because I would say like I don't know, 1,600 to 2,400 would be a pretty solid guess, right?
that'd be a good guess. Actually, that's a fairly high guess. Some people might guess 1,000 or more. It's actually, according to flinjury.com, a law firm, the estimated reported people that go missing is over 200 every single year. Now these are 200. That which doesn't sound like a lot, I suppose, in comparison to some people's guesses, right? But here's the thing. This is cruise ships alone, not other ships, not cruise line, not other, fishing boats, et cetera, et cetera. That basically works out to over 4 people a week from luxury cruise liners that go missing.
4 people? That's so
4
like
people a week.
if you think about
It's
the grand scheme of
3.8, I
things,
believe.
200
Yes.
people is not a lot of people, right? But if you have
Not a lot of
200 people standing out in your front yard, then it becomes a lot of people. It's like even 10 people in your front yard is quite a lot of people.
So every time you got to imagine like a cruise ships, they disembark constantly. Four people from those cruise ships a week, and these are reported. And it's estimated, of course, that especially by this law firm, that some of these just simply don't get reported, right?
Right.
These are the ones where people are like, hey, grandmama's missing, my husband's gone, my children disappeared, et cetera, et cetera. They're just gone, right? Now, did they fall overboard? Were they abducted? That's the next
Were
thing
they murdered?
we're gonna actually. Were they murdered? That happens too, right? Right? Like tossed
yeah,
overboard.
You know how easy it would be to kill someone on a cruise ship and just go into another area?
So easy, man. So easy. And here's the
waters,
crazy part,
dude.
And there's so many cameras like on these, but people just go missing. And then here's the thing. A lot of them, of course, as you might guess, the number one thing where people just blame it is that people generally just got drunk and fell overboard. But a lot of these people that get drunk and fall overboard, quote unquote, right? There's no camera footage of them ever falling overboard, and there's cameras everywhere, dude. Because of course, you would need it for insurance purposes, right? Like there's cameras everywhere, and like there's just no way to see these people. There's no evidence basically of these people disappearing, like, or where they go. They're just assumed, just disappear, right? So it's insane. It's actually insane that many people reportedly go missing. It's like, again, that's like 4 a week. Just don't come back.
That's still a lot of people. Like
that's a lot of people,
like even one person a week is still a lot of people. It's still one person. Like it's still someone disappearing.
That's just gone. I don't even know what that ratio works out to as far as and there's horrible security too, like on a lot of these cruise ships. Nobody's watching you, obviously. Like there's cameras, but again, these people just sort of like disappear. And
these cameras, right? Sure, they have them in the majority of locations, but I'm sure there's a lot of places they don't have them, right?
True.
Because they're only going to do the minimum for like international laws. They're not going to make sure they're secure. They're just going to make sure they're going to get as much profit as they can without spending as much.
Right.
There could be a lot of blind spots in these cases.
There could be a lot, and I think there probably are. I mean, I don't think they blanket every inch of the cruise ship with cameras. I mean, I think you're right, but it's just, I mean, so we're gonna delve into this just a little bit, and some of this, of course, might not be as paranormal, as nefarious as you might think, but we'll probably finish with that. But according to Ranker.com, there's actually a huge list of people that have mysteriously disappeared. Probably one of the most famous that ended potentially tragically, but actually to this day still has no legitimate resolution, was a person by the name of Amy Lynn Bradley. And Amy Lynn Bradley it's a strange story, man. Like a lot of these actually. Amy Lynn was a 23-year-old woman from Virginia who went missing on a Royal Caribbean international cruise with her family. Those are very nice. We've been on many. Those are awesome. Actually, really great cruise line. In March 1998, on the evening she disappeared, Bradley was at a club on the ship. She shared a drink with members of the house band after their set, which, there's a lot of bands and action on these cruise ships.
A lot of sex.
A lot of sex. Just disgusting amounts. Then went off on her own at about 1 a.m., according to one of the bandmates she had been talking to. Bradley was later spotted by her father at about 5:30 a.m., evidently still partying, and said that she had actually appeared to be had fallen asleep on the balcony of her cabin. But by 6 a.m., Bradley had vanished. At the time of her disappearance, the ship had been headed for Aruba in Curacao, Antilles. The ship docked as the search for Bradley began. A pair of tourists claim to have seen Bradley in Curacao, saying they recognized her tattoos, yet Bradley remain missing. In 1999, a Navy man claimed to encounter her in a brothel. He said that she told him her name and then begged for help, saying she was being held captive there. And in 2005, someone said they saw Bradley in Barbados. On an episode of Dr. Phil, Bradley's parents said they had been sent a photo of a woman that could have been Bradley via an anonymous sender in the photo. The woman was, of course, scantily dressed, which adds fuel to the theory that perhaps she had been kidnapped and sold, into...
Yeah, that was actually my theory when you said that she disappeared and she was at a club. I was thinking
Yes.
pirates could just stroll up, and if they're friends with some of the crew, they could turn a blind eye. The balcony normally doesn't have too many cameras. You can just throw them off the balcony, catch them in the water, bam, bam, him's your uncle.
Exactly, right? And then, like, snatch her from a boat. Or, and I think this happens a lot of times, too, is when you're on a cruise, there's a lot of excursions. You go out to these islands, to these areas that are, there's a lot of alleys. Like, anyone's ever been to the Bahamas and these places, they appear to
Honduras,
be...
yeah.
Dude, there's so many places where you just get, like, snatched and just, like, sold into, like, basically, like it's sex trafficked for all intents and purposes, right? And so, like, that's an extreme danger. A lot of these people, potentially end up there. She's actually still never been found. You can look her up. There is a photo of her, scantily clad. She appears to be in lingerie. It looks like the same girl. Of course, there are some skeptics that say that that's not her. People will say that she just got drunk and fell asleep, fell overboard, obviously, and drowned. That's one of the things that I think, depending on the cruise, too, I think a lot of people don't realize that you can freeze to death, like, so fast. Like, in some of the cruises where they're cruise lining in cold water. Yeah, like, if the water's around 40 degrees Fahrenheit, you have as little as 60 minutes before hypothermia sets in, right? Like, you have, like, an hour or less when you hit that water. And once that happens, your muscles basically, like, lock up and atrophy, and you're not able to really to move, and that's a done deal. Like, it's over. So, drown. Now, obviously, cruise ships do, in defense of cruise ships, they do, if they do know that somebody's, like, fallen overboard, they pull out all the stops. They have rescue boats and teams specifically for that kind of thing, because it does happen, and they do rescue quite a few people every single year from the murky depths of the ocean. But many more. Yeah.
So, do you think the Carnival and the Royal Caribbean and all that might be in league with human traffickers?
Dude,
From the employees?
That's actually a really good question.
Because a lot of these employees are native to the locations they're going to.
Right. I mean, I'd imagine, dude, that why not? I mean, stranger things have happened.
Make a quick buck here and there. All you gotta do is just turn a blind eye.
Dude, or mark somebody, tag somebody.
Yeah, tag a door.
Dude,
you'd have access to anybody who's single as well. Like one person boards. You only know, check the manifest.
Check the manifest and see who's single, and then
who's
you
by
can just, like,
themselves.
once you were docked, you could just grant access to somebody like that. Nefarious groups that could just come on board and snatch somebody. That would be the most scandalous thing on the earth, dude. Imagine. That cruise line would never recover. That is unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
They would, but like, who would find out? They're by themselves. They didn't come with anybody, and if they get lost at sea, there's a million. They just got drunk and fell over, Doc. We don't know what happened.
And let me tell you, there's a lot of stories that are just like that. Let's keep going. There's a few more we can talk about. Rebecca Corium was a Disney cruise employee who vanished at sea. Rebecca was 24 and employed on the Disney Wonder cruise ship. She disappeared on May 22nd, 2011, as the ship was sailing off the coast of Mexico. She was spotted on surveillance video talking on one of the ship's internal phones and appeared upset. Another passenger approached her and asked her if she was okay, to which she appeared to say yes. Then she hung up the phone and walked away. The most common theories are that she was swept overboard while at the crew pool, or that she jumped or fell from deck 5. Yet no theory is particularly compelling, considering there was no actual footage of her potential fall. What truly happened remains a mystery. Others say she was in a turbulent relationship and could have been upset. Yet her family states that she would never willingly have gone overboard, assuming self-unaliving, right?
Right.
Even authorities clash over what happened to Rebecca, with some stating it was a simple yet tragic case of someone slipping overboard, while others are alleging foul play. Just gone. Just gone. Not.
What was her
wasn't
position?
Intoxicated. Good question. I don't know. She evidently was one of the workers there.
If she was a cook, I could understand completely just staying on an island, just never coming back to the ship. I could completely understand that.
As a chef of many years, you could just. That's actually a good point, though. What you just mentioned is like, what if you go on the excursion and you just like don't get back on the ship? They leave.
Yeah.
They will leave.
They will leave you.
They
Yeah,
will
100%.
100% leave you. And so, if you just get kidnapped or something, no one's looking for you. They're like,
No.
well, they didn't come back. Good
Yeah.
luck getting back to the mainland, wherever you are.
Oh, and what if that single person had an excursion and then they just disappear? They're not going to stop the boat for a single person or send out the military. Oh, dude, this is getting too deep for me.
But also, what if you were a criminal, right? Right? Like, what if you were a criminal and you just decided to just disappear, like off the ship? Like, you were decided to get off the ship and just like assume a new identity.
Good.
You could catch a private plane off the boat, and you would just be gone. You would just be gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, someplace without extradition. Who's gonna look for you? Like,
No,
nobody, man.
You'd have to be a criminal between getting on the ship and then getting off the ship, right? Because they'll check your identity when you get to the United States port.
Yeah. You do have like a mini passport. Like there's obviously, so I'm going to Japan here soon, and we have like a full passport, but there's like passport cards for Canada, Bermuda, as long as you're mostly clean, right?
I just got a real idea. You know how Elon Musk is doing the Starlink where you get internet anywhere, right?
Yeah.
You and I, in this supposed world, allegedly, right?
Right.
Hear me out.
Right.
We hook to Starlink, or we find a cruise that goes near Starlink, or wherever the orbit is, right?
Yeah.
But before all that, we learn how to hack into Swedish and United States banks, and we go on the ship, right? We're not criminals yet. Then we take out our laptops, connect to Starlink, take all that money, get to whatever we're going, and then just leave.
Just disappear into
the night.
shadows
With millions and millions of dollars.
With George Clooney, starring George Clooney. and
Casino Royale 5.
Casino, yeah, right? Like
Cruise
Oceans 2, Dock and Demand Edition. Yeah,
I mean, if you think about it, you could do that with the Starlink now.
I mean, I'm starting to realize that there's some nefarious things that happen on these cruises that may be darker than either of us realized. Like, I'm actually weirded out. We got it. We got more stories. We got more. Like, there's so Annette Meisner, 37. She won a Carnival cruise to the Mexican Riviera in December 2004. Right? Congratulations to her. She took her parents and her teenage daughter along for the trip. On the night of her disappearance, she sang karaoke with her daughter, then hit the casino. Partying hard, it sounds like. Her parents quickly became concerned when Meisner did not show up to play bingo with them as scheduled later that evening. So evidently this was during I guess during the day into the evening. Mazenner's purse was discovered on one of the ship's lower decks near a railing. Many believed somehow she fell or was pushed overboard. Yet an extensive search conducted by the Coast Guard and Navy failed to find any trace of her, and the FBI's investigation was inconclusive. The only camera that might have caught what had happened was blocked by a map of the ship.
Oh, you want too much of the casino and the casino boss was like,
Yeah, he was like, get rid of her, dude. No
that's what
winners on our
happened.
cruise.
Simple, case solved. Next one.
Winners or losers. Dude, that's horrible, man.
That the
But
fact that the map was
why?
blocked. I mean, there's a lot of coincidences. Was she a drinker? Was she inebriated? If she was completely sober and never drank a drop in her life, she won a lot at the casino, and then they just booted her off, and then gave the patrons who are near her like a $500 thing just to keep them quiet. You know, like hush
I
money.
mean, like legitimately, this story. There's a big long story, like evidently with this, but that's just crazy. That's just insane. So you guys can look that up if you want to know more about that. The Annette Mazenner.
I have a question for you, Doc.
Mizener. Yeah.
This is slightly off topic, but how does death insurance work if you disappear off a cruise?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I have no idea how that works out.
A good question
Like,
to ask, I think.
You collect insurance from somebody. I mean, I think if you disappear, I think there's a time limit on when you can be declared legally dead, right? So
Yeah, I guess.
I think that's part of it, right? Like, so you'd have to. I don't know anything about insurance claims.
If anyone knows,
Dude,
DM us.
Yeah, hit us in the DMs, put it in the comments. Again, this podcast is going on multiple platforms, YouTube, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, let us contact us at doctormanshow at gmail.com business opportunities and to let us know
Death
how
insurance
far
and
we are.
queries.
Yeah. And let's talk about Marion Carver, dude. Marion
What that little scamp get up to?
Marion Carver disappeared on an Alaskan cruise line. 40 years old, she disappeared from a Celebrity Cruises ship in August of, again, this one's in 2004. Carver had gone on a trip alone. She went alone. 40 years old, disappeared on the second day of a 7-day Alaskan tour. One of the crew members reported that Carver seemed to be missing and failed to respond. So I guess the crew member went to check on her room. When they found Carver's belongings still in her cabin after the cruise had ended, they simply donated them to charity.
What?
They never reported her disappearance to the police.
Brother, if that's not
It was-
blatant.
It was Carver's family who filed a missing persons report after not hearing from her for days. They were not even aware at the time of the filing that Carver had even gone on a cruise. She was evidently an independent woman that don't need no man. And
Until she gets missing.
And that's why she's disappeared immediately. And no one found her. Royal Caribbean, who owns Celebrity Cruises, ruled the disappearance a suicide.
Ooh.
Assumedly for insurance purposes because there was no proper investigation ever conducted. And Carver's family is still left in the dark.
That's clearly a murder.
Gotta be a murder. But
Gotta
you
be
don't
a
know.
murder.
I mean, we don't have any clue.
The crew members
She's
didn't. Oh, but I just had a brain blast mid sentence, right? Do you remember all the times you were ever on a cruise boat and you heard some random name being called over the intercom several times, reporting to see the captain or whatever? What if those were the missing people? And you just never
they're just
thought about
gone.
it.
And they're just not. They're just completely.
You could have been on a
missing.
cruise that had missing people, Doc. Think about that for a
Dude,
second. You ever
and you know
ignored
what?
all the announcements that they made because you already know what you're gonna do for that day, but then they mix up like, can Rodriguez Garcia come see us at the front office or the front of the ship or whatever they say. Dude, I don't even know what they say, but I know they say it because it's locked into my memory.
What if it's like that's just a code for go get their belongings and put them in a hold so we can donate them to charity
Donate them to
later on.
charity? Do you think
Or
it was
just
Goodwill?
dude, all I know is if you go missing, they're not even gonna look for you, man. They're just gonna give your stuff away, probably after they go through it and
After
take
they
what
go
they
through and take
want.
the good stuff, yeah. Yeah, the charity is the ship company.
Dude. Right?
I don't think I want to go on cruises anymore, Doc.
Bro, we're not even done, man. It gets worse. We can
Oh,
keep
what else
going.
we got, brother?
Bro, let's talk about Hugh Pham and Hugh Tran vanishing.
Huge.
That's assumedly potentially they are of Vietnamese descent. While these two people disappeared while celebrating their 50th anniversary.
Ooh, congratulations to them.
A couple, congratulations, went missing on a Carnival cruise ship headed for Barbados and to Aruba in May of 2005. The couple had gone on the cruise to celebrate, obviously, their 50th wedding anniversary, as I mentioned. They were traveling with their daughter and granddaughter. The couple vanished from the ship, leaving behind only their shoes as a
What?
clue, which were found on the ship's deck. Both of them.
Been on the
Gone.
deck?
Only their shoes were left behind.
Were they like
Some
organized?
It doesn't say.
Okay.
That said that though some have speculated the couple committed a double self-unaliving, their son Michael Pham doesn't believe it. He said they were happy and had been planning a trip to Vietnam to see their relatives. So evidently, no foul play was suspected, as far as I can tell.
What happened to the
Again,
children? They're with
they're
their daughter and granddaughter, right? And
they're
I'm going to
left
assume they're not
behind.
gonna. There's no way they would like. Why would they not? What?
Mm-hmm. They
This is
just
weird. That's weird.
Leaving only their shoes.
Why would they live that long just to be like, all right, I'm done?
Exactly, just to be like, what are you going to do, right?
And why would they take their grandkids and their kids with them? Wouldn't they just do it solo dolo?
Exactly, right? Why would you bring your family to the cruise and be like, hey, you know what? It's time to double suicide fact off of a Carnival cruise ship.
Yeah, and traumatize
Like-
my granddaughter.
And our family. And also, let's make sure we kick off our shoes first.
Well, the shoes I understand because they don't want to get heaven dirty. you know the old Asian tradition.
Yeah.
Take off your shoes for entering a house. You know, when you enter the house of God, you gotta have clean feet. You know, I'm just saying.
Your feet better be cleaned off.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude. I'm trying to tell you right now. That's just
It makes sense.
No.
I mean,
no way.
I don't think they jumped. I think so. I want to talk about we've been talking about murders, kidnappings, and all that. I want to quickly talk about how we've seen a lot of alien activity during the sea. So, do you think it could be getting abducted?
You see, this is what I love about you, Demand. That's actually where I was going next, right? This is a perfect one. There's more, obviously. You can look them up. There's just tons of people that just go missing. And I'm sure,
that's for
assumedly, some of them, yeah, like we mentioned before, as you said before, got murdered or they got drunk and fell overboard and drowned. Like those are the most obvious and probably the most prevalent. But there are some strange ones, like the one I just mentioned. And so we can't end Campfire Stories without talking about it. About so many of the UFO sightings on the ocean and by cruise ships. And if you don't already, you may want to subscribe to our Patreon. Some of the bonus content that you won't get on the podcast is going to be on there, as well as our interaction with our Twitch chat, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, if you want to support the Doc and Demand Show, don't forget to go do that. That's the only ad you're going to get from me tonight. And dude, you're absolutely right, man. You're absolutely right. With all of the reportings of UFO sightings, you have to ask yourself, did any of these people get abducted? Right? Is
Yeah,
that a
like
possibility?
because like the shoe thing, just like you have your grandchildren and your children, like I don't know, maybe the rubber in the suits and the soles of the feet don't do well with like alien guns. I don't know.
I mean, dude, I don't know, man. I mean, like the thing is, the aliens are smart, dude, if that's the case, because like they're no one's gonna check on you. In fact, the cruise ship's gonna lie about where you went. They're just gonna sell your shit to
Blatantly
the
lie.
Goodwill. Yeah, like immediately. Like no one is going to look for you. But there have been, especially recently, as 2022 and probably I think last year and I think this year as well, several UFO sightings reported by pilots over the Pacific Ocean.
Hmm.
Multiple UFOs, and they're theorizing that for some reason these UFOs are attracted to the ocean for some reason, leaving others to postulate that potentially um, they exist on our planet under the ocean, far out, to where their human contact would be, minimized.
So
Right?
Atlantis type people.
I mean, potentially, right? There's all kinds of ancient stories about um aliens that were like fish based or amphibious even, right? From
Hmm.
yeah, like we've actually talked about that on Campfire Stories. We're gonna have to revisit that particular question about that. There's an ancient tribe, I believe in Africa. I don't remember exactly what they're called, and they had some astronomical knowledge that their primitive tribe would have had um, no knowledge of, and evidently they knew about a certain solar system or certain stars that we actually didn't find until recently, like in the
What?
last 20 or 50 years, and evidently there's another star in that region that we have yet to find that right now doesn't exist, but they say it exists, and they said they were given their knowledge by basically aliens that came down, and they were fish-like.
They were
And I believe the star
fish
system.
like?
That's what they said. Yeah,
Okay,
that's what they
okay, okay,
said.
okay.
So we're gonna have to go and look up the name of the tribe, but it's. I mean, I don't know how to explain it.
Do you
But
think the fish aliens are angry at us for eating all that delicious sea bass?
specifically, possibly because it's their favorite or their distant cousins, right?
Mmm, that's
Like,
so buttery and delicious.
I'm a big takoyaki myself. Like I mentioned, I'm gonna go to
Ooh,
Japan soon, and I'm gonna
takoyaki is
I'm gonna get some.
delicious. You should
Yeah,
give
I'm
me
gonna get
some.
some.
Bring back some.
I'm sure it'll keep really well in my backpack.
Yeah, or
No
bring
doubt.
me back like the traditional ingredients, and we'll make takoyaki fresh at the Doctober compound.
Dude, that's a great idea. We actually should do that. We should do
Hmm.
that. But UF sightings were reported by multiple pilots and captured on video in August 2022 and September as well. According to multiple sources, they quote just kept going in circles. I was an F-18 pilot in the Marine Corps, and I'm telling you, I've done many intercepts. I've never seen anything like this," said the pilot, last name Halsey, I believe, in the recording. According to Hassan, I think another one of the pilots, the strange lights that some pilots reported as possible aircraft were seen by upwards of 15 different commercial flights as well. And at least 6 pilots are willing to go on record with their names and everything if asked to do so by investigative agencies. In this case, we have a global phenomenon that is far west as Japan, and to the far east as possibly as Miami, near your neck of the woods, demand.
Ooh,
Whatever it is, pilots are seeing. Um, whatever they are seeing, it's halfway across the world. It's spanning at least that far. strange lights and all kinds of things um, in the ocean. There is a Harvard scientist named Avi Loeb, who's been on multiple podcasts, is an Israeli-American theoretical physicist,
Mm.
works on astrophysics and cosmology. Um, he is a professor of science at Harvard University, or was up until I think 2020. No, 2022. Excuse me.
Okay.
And yeah, or 2020, and founded the Black Hole Initiative in 2016. And he says that alien technology is already here, and they found remnants of it. There evidently was a comet or a meteor that crashed into the Pacific Ocean. Um, and it looks like it was in 2014. A fireball blazed across the
2014. Okay.
Yeah, a fireball blazed across the sky above Papua New Guinea, shedding debris as it passed. A U.S. government sensor station nearby measured its speed at more than 110,000 miles per hour. And NASA Center for Near Earth Object Studies detected its fall. The meteorite splashed down in the ocean about 53 miles offshore. This aforementioned astrophysicist, Avi Loeb, at Harvard University, is on a quest to find it based on its extreme speed and trajectory upon entering the Earth's atmosphere. He believes the object, which he dubbed Interstellar Meteor 1 or IM1, is a relic from another solar system. And he says he thinks it might potentially harbor alien techno signatures or traces of technology crafted
What?
by non-human entities. And it just so happened, man, that in 2022 he did find it, or
What?
remnants
Hold
of
on.
it.
Hold up. What? How do you sniff out technology essence?
Well, I'm about to
What
tell you.
device do you use?
So, not long after the Loeb and his team found what seemed to be remnants of this meteorite, they conducted an extensive search off the Manus Island coast using a magnetic laden sled from their ship to probe that section of the ocean floor. And the team's patience and diligence evidently were rewarded as they managed to collect over 700 microscopic spherules or spheres, detectable only under a microscope. These spherules evidently were comprised of, let me see if I can find, had a particular amount of beryllium, lanthanum, and uranium in the objects, which sets them apart from other samples not found typically found on the Earth, the Moon, or even Mars.
Okay.
Said. So Loab believes that this is remnants of potential alien technology, because these metal spherules seem to be remnants of some
Different
sort
elements.
of. Yeah, but they're manufactured, is what he's trying to
Oh,
say.
okay.
Yeah. So when this meteorite burned up on the Earth, what was on it kind of burned up and came apart with it. So it's like finding pieces of metal wreckage, basically,
Oh,
is
so
what he's trying to
you think
say.
there was a galactic space battle
That's
in our
what
neck of the woods?
he says. Well, he didn't say that, but he just says that definitely that the meteorite was from out of the solar system, and the remnants that he found on it were metal pieces like that of wreckage that were manufactured. They're not natural, he's trying to say. That these metal spherules are like pieces of like a spaceship or some sort of technology that was
Mm,
on this meteorite. Kind of like a Muamua. Do you remember a Muamua? Like
bless
it
you.
was this that was an interstellar object that passed through the solar system that it was almost like a big flying like flat turd. I hate to say that, but that's legitimately like what it was. It was just this big long kind of like meteorite. It flew in from basically no outside of any gravitational pull or orbit into our solar system. Flew around our sun, right? Kind of came around and then accelerated out of our solar system without any
Like a
gravitational pull
slingshot.
whatsoever. Like a slingshot, but it wasn't influenced. It actually accelerated when it left. It sped up under no gravitational force we can tell.
I'm upset, Doc.
I'm just saying. A lot of people think that the Muammua's it basically gained speed because of some trapped internal outgassing pressure. It basically I am
It
not
farted its way to be faster.
I'm not kidding. That is one of the prevailing scientific theories about this particular spatial anomaly that it
Yeah.
literally farted its way faster out of the solar system than when it came in.
Okay.
I'm not
All right there,
saying.
Chief. All right there.
I'm just
Yeah.
trying to tell you.
Jupiter's full of gas. You don't see that big Bertha moving anytime soon. All right.
It was so his theory is basically one of these types of meteorites or what do you call whatever you want to call them from. They're almost like probes. He's trying to argue. Now they look evidently scanned. They look like some sort of meteor, I guess. But again, they're flat and long. But I guess they look like they're rock or comprised of rock, ice, and
That makes sense if they're flat and long, right? Because say if you take like a big old rock and just put it in a river, eventually the river's going to make it flat and long. So maybe the vacuum of space isn't really the vacuum of space.
Right? Maybe it changed shape because of some sort of gravitational force or
Maybe
what have you.
maybe you need that
Maybe-
shape to go through wormholes or something. I don't know. Science.
But right, science we don't understand. Hey, I'm listening. You've got my attention. I'm on your side. But evidently, Oumuamua was again from another solar system that passed through on a strange orbit that had basically nothing to do, as far as we can tell, with any sort of gravitational pull. It just kind of flew in and flew out, and then sped up when it left.
So you
Like,
think these meteors are abducting people from cruise ships?
I don't know. How this relates to what we're saying is that, there's some sort of, in my opinion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, if aliens were to probably interact with our planet is a gigantic water ball, man.
It is.
It's a gigantic water ball. If there's anything on this planet that's worth anything, it's the water.
That's
Am
I
I
mean,
right
the
or
odds
am
are in
I
the
wrong?
favor of water,
Right?
obviously.
Right. So, in my opinion, if aliens and maybe interstellar craft were interacting with our planet, it would be on the water. And hold on, I'm tying it all together in a neat bow. These cruise ships and sailing vessels and fishing boats and big tankers that are all out here, they have a greater chance with interacting with these things if that is indeed the case, right? That if they were going to interact with human beings, it would probably more than likely be more prevalent out in the ocean where the water is would be something they would be more interested in rather than us, and maybe they interact with us out of sheer curiosity, right?
Isn't
Almost
there
like a-
isn't there
almost
water
like a-
roads? And if you go away from the road, like with the water road, the military contacts you and says you need to course correct, right?
like a current, like, is that what you're talking
No,
about? Like
no, I'm talking about there are predetermined paths you have to take if you're a ship. You can't just go anywhere.
No way. Are you serious?
I think
Can't just-
so, yeah.
You and I can't just get on the Dr. Man show like hydrofoil and go out there in the
I don't
ocean
think
and
so.
just-
Because I think if you go a path you're not supposed to go, you'll be contacted by the military, I think. Or a Coast Guard vessel will approach you or something.
Well, I do know that if you go into like like you said, there's international waters out there, but I know if you go into waters that are quote unquote claimed and owned by, certain countries, that could be dangerous, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so evidently, yeah, just like airlines, they have interesting,
Yeah.
potentially
So
waterways.
what if
Dude,
these
here we go.
abductions are possibly ships that have been washed astray from their path and they're trying to get back on it, and they've accidentally
And
strayed into where the aliens' territory is, right?
or close to it where you can see it and maybe interact with them, right?
Correct.
Oh.
So maybe like these are all like maybe our governments across the world have made an agreement with the aliens where we'll travel these certain lines.
Or they've made the water roads or waterways to where we would just avoid where these things potentially show up at.
Correct.
Hey, you know what? I bet. What would you see if you like? Okay, you've heard of Point Nemo, right?
Correct.
Has anyone right? So Point Nemo, for those of you who don't know, is the furthest point in the ocean away from any kind of human contact. The International Space Station, right? This is one of the little factoids you'll hear. The International Space Station, when it's flying in space, right, above the Earth, when it's flying over Point Nemo, there it is closer than anyone other living human being, like on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how far away. What do you think you would see if you were like out there in the middle of nowhere? And is it
Hard to
illegal to
tell.
go out there? Like how far before the government comes for you, right? Or some
I think it'd be pretty fast because every boat has to have a transponder, right? So they would know exactly where you're heading, and they would eventually cut you off because their ships are faster than yours.
they could just sink you, dude. They could just
They're
sink you,
easily,
and then
and
it
no
would
one,
be
would
easier.
find out.
And no one would ever know, dude. No
Mm-hmm.
one would ever know. So we get Elon Musk's Starlink, then we can radio for help, let everybody know what's happening before,
But what
the
if it's too
shadow
late?
government.
What if Elon's part of it?
No, dude. He knows, man. He knows, dude. Man, I'm telling you right now, you're out. If you're out, even cruise ships now aren't safe, man. Even they're not safe, dude. There has
Oh.
been during our last martini, which we're gonna play here in a little bit. If you haven't already, consider supporting us on Patreon, et cetera, et cetera. I lied. I told you that was going to be the last commercial. We got one last one before we end. Yeah, like you can get all this bonus content. Demand's going to play the last martini, but let me give you a little a tasty spoiler. It's about it's like a video clip of a cruise ship captain which she captured, and this is fairly new. You can find it on TikTok. It's fairly new, or should I say recent? And she captures, or they did, the people on the ship, on the cruise ship, captured an alien UFO, UAP, whatever you want to call it.
Mm.
Like it's like
Wow.
a squid-like looking drone or whatever, like just descending over the cruise ship. And evidently, the cruise ship was located 12 to 15 miles away from any point near the land. Like it was far
It's a
out there.
squid-like ship.
And it floats down in the video. It floats down and just disappears like over the ship. But they said that it goes into the ocean and just like disappears. It makes no sound. Like
Interesting.
no sound. Call it a technological weapon. Call it an alien ship. Call it whatever you want. It is really, really, really strange. And to think that these things could just be hanging out over every ship, cruise ship, luxury liner, is just an unsettling like fact to me. And I thought this was the perfect episode to start out, considering all of the new tech you brought to the stream. Demand.
Mm-hmm.
We're on our own little ghost ship out here in the middle of nowhere, telling ghost stories here on
I love our
Campfire
ship.
Stories. My name's Doc. I'm here with my co-host Demand. This is Campfire Stories. We talk about the weird, the wondrous, the strange. Don't forget to like the podcast, subscribe to our social media, et cetera, and support us on Patreon. One final time. 3 is the magic number. if you haven't already, for bonus content and to get extra stuff. We're going to be interacting with our Twitch chat now without further ado. So this is adios for the podcast. Demand. What do you got for him, baby?
I got a question and a statement. Question,
Yeah.
very simple. How often do you look up? That's all. How often do you look up? And finally, make sure you rub your happiness. Peace.
Peace.